follow up here in Australia. This is I'm starting to see a lot of this. This is a news article from an Australian news agency, and they said girls married off as climate change coping strategy. I thought this was a joke, but it's real. ABC.net.au. Climate change is now believed to be a leading contributor to more frequent and younger nuptials, with 12 million girls tipped to become a child bride this year. Imagine that, guys. It's not, it actually makes a lot of sense for child marriage to exist. Why? Because of climate change, guys. I mean, I honestly, my brain hurts. I can't even believe that's real. But yeah, holy shit. Should I go and see? Let's see if we can read the article. Let's go check it out. Hold on. abc.net.au. Let's see if we can find it. Let me post it here. I didn't know this site existed. So they're covering. I started. Is there a search feature? Let's see. Child marriage. They probably took it down. They tend to catch a lot of heat for these things, and then they end up taking it down. Um. Oh, parental alienation details. Wait, hold on. I think I can just click here. Oh, fuck. I want to read the actual article. No more than one compass. All right, I don't see it. I don't want to waste your guys' time. Can't see how. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it on here. Try one more time by typing climate change. This is really similar to another article I saw from the BBC in which they said that. Oh, I found it. It's right here. Climate change becoming. There's no way this is real, guys. Climate change becoming a major driver of child marriage across Asia and the Pacific. Brother. Oh my god. This is disgusting. This is written by a woman. In short, the growing intensity of natural disasters across Asia is leading to increasing numbers of child marriage of girls, according to aid organizations. They're worried this year's El Nino could exacerbate the issue of child marriage. Holy shit, guys. What? This is an Australian news article. Advocates are calling for funding and resources around child marriage to be better integrated into climate change response and resilience programs. What? Runa was 15 when she married a man she had never met. Cyclone Ramal had ripped through her camp in Bangladesh, killing her family chicken and ducks, which were the source of both their food and income. Runa's mother, who had become the sole income earner after her husband died a year earlier, then lost weeks of laboring work due to the natural disaster. She could no longer financially support Runa, now 17, and her three brothers. She felt she had no choice but to arrange my marriage. Oh, God. This is disgusting. And people think I'm exaggerating when I talk about Europe. When I talk about Europe and I talk about them wanting to censor so that you don't know about the migrant stuff going on or about the cultural changes they're trying to push. And to be honest with you, even to this extent, I never know how bad it's going to get. I never I see these things and I'm like, oh, it's a funny parody, right? This would be a parody. Like this would be a joke that South Park would make or a joke that The Onion would make. And it's a real article. Somebody sat down and thought to themselves, a woman, by the way, who you would think would understand, would truly understand what was going on, sat down and wrote, yes, the true cause of child marriage is climate change. We need to fight climate change in order to stop child marriage. Some woman actually sat down and wrote that. She's probably paid a lot of money too, and she probably got paid to go to college. Unfathomable fucking possibilities. Excuse me. Boy. 12 million girls are tipped to become child brides this year, according to Plan International. By the way, this is in Bangladesh. 500,000 Bangladeshians are set to be imported into Japan. 12 million girls are tipped to become child brides this year, according to Plan International. Child marriage is a global problem across cultures and religions. It is often inherently linked to gender inequality, poverty, food insecurity, and social norms and practices, including family honor and dowry payments. Climate change is now believed to be a leading contributor to more frequent and younger nuptials. Bro, holy fuck, guys! I'm astonished. I really don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is a real article that I'm reading right now. It's real. They believe climate change is why. They will do anything other than hold the migrants responsible. Anything. And I assure you right now that if I, a white man, had a daughter and fuck, a hurricane, I live in Florida, blew over my house, and then I had to go and somehow came to the conclusion that I need to sell my daughter to the highest bidder in order to fucking get through the rough year. There's no way I'm getting defended in the same way that she's defending these Bangladeshians. I don't think it's happening. I'm just saying. I don't know, guys. I just don't know. I just I'm just I'm fucking shell shocked here. Whenever there's climate change impact, we see a spike in child marriage. Wow. The families look to lessen the burden because they don't consider girls to be part of their own families. They consider girls to be part of their future husbands' families. So investing girls is not a choice. It's like they're so close, but they just never get it. While climate change is not believed to be increasing the number of tropical storms worldwide. What? So even okay. Scientists and meteorologists say a warmer atmosphere and rising sea temperatures and levels are increasing their intensity and the impact they have on communities. Okay. After a natural disaster in Bangladesh, child marriages can surge up to 39%, according to International Rescue Committee. South Asia, one of the most vulnerable regions to the impacts of climate change, accounts for most of the world's child marriages. Bangladesh has the highest rate in Asia, according to Plan International, with more than 50% of girls married before they turn 18. Well, I'll just disprove your whole climate change nonsense. Ready? I don't think child marriage in well, I was gonna say Western countries, but I'm just gonna put it to like America because this doesn't really feel like there's many first world countries anymore. Increase after there's a storm, so I don't think it's climate change. I'm just going to say that I live in Florida. Trust me, if anyone's gonna get affected by climate change, it would be us. I assure you, child marriages aren't jumping 50% due to every hurricane that hits here. Bangladesh has the highest rate in Asia, according to Plan International, with more than 50% of girls married before they turn 18. Getting married meant Runa had to drop out of school to focus on being a wife, and soon after, a mother. I did not want to get married. I wanted to continue my education. Too bad the white women say you gotta get married because of climate change. The decision made me very unhappy, very sad and helpless. Runa is in some ways one of the lucky ones. Oh, God. Disgusting. Ugh. What a nasty bitch who wrote this, guys. What a nasty person. When we covered the rape gang report and that nasty woman came out and said that she disagreed with the way it was presented, she was going to run the same narrative that the rape gangs only existed because of people were poor, that it wasn't a cultural thing. That's what this is too, bro. Women gotta hold these other women accountable. This is why sexism happens. Sorry, it's a terrible comment. It's not why, but this is not helping. But Runa is in some ways one of the lucky ones because a few years later, her husband's family allowed her to return to her studies. That makes her lucky. So she's basically getting R-worded and forced to have a baby, and she'll never actually be able to pursue her career, but she's lucky because they returned to her studies. You're a nasty person, bro. You're a nasty ass person. You're evil. It makes me feel happy and hopeful about my future. I also want to make sure that my son receives a good education and has opportunities to achieve his dreams. Runa wanted to share a story to help prevent other girls from being married before they are ready. El Nino expected to intensify child marriage rate. Kamerul Hassan Shawan said, he too often met girls who aspire to be doctors, pilots, or even entrepreneurs lose sight of those goals when they become a child bride. Bro, I feel like exploding right now. I feel like I'm gonna go lose my mind. I'm gonna lose my mind. Seriously. I'm losing it, guys. I'm actually losing it. This fucking bastard said he too often met girls who aspire to be doctors, pilots, or even entrepreneurs lose sight of those goals when they become child bride. Like, even the way it's presented as if it's the little kid's fault. Oh yes, this 16-year-old, it's her fault that I got her pregnant and made her a slave, and then she didn't want to be a doctor anymore. And then this grown ass white woman thought that that was a really good. She's like jumping up and down in joy. She's like, "Look at me! I'm giving this brown person attention and letting them speak their voice. Yay! You're promoting child rape, you sick fuck! Like what? What the fuck?" The Climate Change and Resilience Program Manager for Plan International in Bangladesh said with the right pathways, these girls would go on to work wonders if they were not married off. No shit. Making life safe for them is enough, he said. What? But Mr. Sharman is worried this year's El Nino would intensify the risk of child marriage in the country. Yeah, that's not why you have child marriage in your country, you retard. But you know that. But you don't want to be held accountable. You don't want your culture to be held accountable, so I get it. You want to blame it, and then you have a bunch of white women standing behind you cheering you on because they're sick fucks. We are facing climate experiences almost every year. Everyone does. And El Nino will affect us dearly. Everyone is experiencing climate change. Guess what? Our first idea here in America when we suffer from a natural disaster isn't to marry off our firstborn daughter. You retard. What am I reading right now? This is an actual article. This year's El Nino is predicted to be among the strongest ever recorded. It is forecast to increase rainfall in Central Asia, the southern parts of South America, the U.S., and other parts of the Horn of Africa. Yeah, and notice in the U.S., we don't immediately start marrying off our youngest daughter to a Muslim man. It could cause, for money, it could cause drought in Australia, Indonesia, parts of Asia, and Central America, and trigger hurricane formation in the Central and Eastern Pacific. We really need to work hand in hand with Australia and other countries because when Bangladesh is struggling, the struggle will eventually reach out to Australia and other parts of the world. What? In what way? What? How does that make any sense? What? What are you even saying? Is this like, I can't believe this is real. This is crazy. Funding needs to focus on climate resilient livelihoods. Funding needs to focus on killing evil cultures that marry off little girls for money. That's what funding needs to do. This is wild, man. New research from Plan International and the University of Technology Sydney found girls were disproportionately affected by climate change across Asia and the Pacific. Yeah, they're just disproportionately affected by everything because of Muslim Islam. Like what? The full report, they'll do anything other than blame their culture or their religion. Anything. Anything. Anything will be blamed. The full report, which is due out later this year, looks at how climate-related shock and environmental stressors are shaping adolescent girls' life trajectories in Bangladesh, Nepal, and Solomon Islands. Plan International's Miss Sony said it was necessary research as governments around the world had been slow to recognize the link. Bro, that's the link that you fucking came to? It's not Islam, not Sharia law. You went to these countries and you were like, wow, these Muslim men keep selling their daughters. Must be climate change. That's the conclusion you came to? That's incredible. That is so incredible. While the Australian government requires a climate and gender focus in its foreign aid programs, Ms. Sony said response to climate change and environmental disasters still focus more on rebuilding infrastructure and recovery efforts rather than social impacts like child marriage and violence against women. We can't shy away from the fact that there are young people, the future of their countries, but also of this global community, they're going to be affected by child marriage. He said this is a call to action for governments, especially the Australian government. To do what? Don't look at it as an isolated issue that has nothing to do with climate change because all these issues are intertwined. They're not, though, right? Let me think about it more. Let me put it in perspective for you white women or you retards. I have two options. I can remove climate change or I can remove Islam. I wonder which one will decrease child marriage the most. I wonder which one. Right? Which one? Leave a message in the comments if you think you know the right answer, guys. Tell me which one you think would reduce the amount of child marriage in the world. Climate, if you took away climate change, or if you took away Islam, Sharia law. Tell me which one. Because this white woman seems to think that it's climate change. Australia's Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade said it was committed to ending child marriage and protecting the rights of adolescent girls across the Indo-Pacific region. Australia is supporting integrated efforts to address the drivers of child marriage, including through strengthening education, child protection, and gender-based violence prevention, and sexual and reproductive health and rights services, the department spokesperson said. Under Australia's international development policy, gender equality and climate action are placed at the very core. What a joke. What a fucking joke. Nowhere on track to end child marriage. No region is currently on track to meet the 2030 target of eliminating child marriage, according to Girls Not Brides. Yeah, that's because you think it's climate change is the problem. Shreya Ghosh, the organization's head of Asia engagement, said child marriage had become a coping strategy for families losing livelihoods and income. Bro, this is not real life, man. This is not real life. And then I have a picture of her, and she's a Muslim. It's not real, guys. I can't believe what I'm reading. This is the craziest article I've read in 2026. Whew, it's a coping strategy, yeah. Again, whatever. But she said child marriage was a solvable issue, and many marriages could be prevented if funding and resources for child marriage were better integrated into climate change. Are you fucking kidding me? So the other woman who had made a lot of comments about the rape gang inquiry, she had the same theory, was that if you just gave all the migrants a lots of money, then they would stop raping and pillaging. That was like her philosophy too. Dude, you guys are not giving women a good image with this shit. I'm telling you that much. All of, not that it's not supported by retard liberal men too. All of this is happening because there's not strong enough support mechanism in the first place. Again, it's just give them lots of money and they'll stop selling off their daughters. Yeah, that has nothing to do with it. It's about making sure that we have very strong response when disaster or situation strikes, but more importantly, to keep the work going when things are calm, to bridge those gaps, to reduce the inequalities, and to increase the resilience of households. Whew, it's a lot of commie gobbledygook. Mrs. Ghosh said that it was also vital more women and girls with knowledge of their communities were involved in tackling the problem. They are not there to really speak about how this issue is impacting them, and that's why the policies are not responding to their needs. Yeah, that's why, I'm sure. Fucking retards, bro. Holy shit. Building climate resilient livelihoods is so critical to addressing child marriage. I'm sorry I'm laughing. It's not really funny. It's awful for these children. I've seen, like fucking, children less than 10 who were pregnant. And I assure you it had nothing to do with climate change, and it had everything to do with Islam and Sharia law. Fucking hell. It also teaches girls digital skills to help their families make more money by being able to liaise directly with supermarkets to sell their produce. What? For example, so they become vital to the household income, less likely to vary it off. What? Brother, are you fucking kidding me? So, excuse me. They'll do anything but say it's a culture problem, or that it's a religious problem, or that it's an ethnic problem. Anything but say that. Anything whatsoever. In Cambodia, where the organization has run climate adaptation programs combined with education, digital literacy, and women's advocacy sessions in rural villages, the child marriage rate dropped in those areas by at least 65% over 3 years. Yeah, I'm pressing X for doubt. It works. You need to have a community based. But again, if I have two options, right, and I can either ban Islam and the practice of Sharia law, or I can fix climate change, I bet you one of those has a higher percentage success rate than the other. And it's not the climate change one. It works. You need to have a community based approach to really prevent the practice. Any investment you make on girls, there is generational impact that happens. What an insane. Dude, everyone involved with writing that needs to be hung by their neck. Like, that is a crazy article. I can't believe it. I had no idea that was there. I was only planning on reading the headline.